You're listening to Holy Lives, Inspiring Stories. This podcast is brought to you by Paulines Multimedia. Discover the saints. Be inspired to live like one.
Hello and welcome back to Holy Lives, Inspiring Stories. We're here to find light, inspiration, and insight from the holy men and women who have walked before us, and discover how their faith, struggles, and triumphs can inspire us to live with purpose, compassion, and courage today.
It's so great to be back for a second episode. Today we're talking about a man who was a true visionary, someone who looked at the modern world not with fear, but with immense opportunity.
That's right. Today's episode is titled Scrutinizing the Signs of the Times, and we'll be exploring the incredible life of Blessed James Alberione, the founder of the Pauline Family. He was an apostle for the 20th century, and his message is maybe even more relevant in the 21st.
I love that title. It really captures the essence of what it means to be a saint in the modern world. So let's start at the beginning. Who was James Alberione?
Well, he was born in a small town in Italy in 1884 to a hard-working farming family. And like many saints, he felt his calling very early. Get this, when his first grade teacher asked him what he wanted to be when he grew up, little James didn't hesitate. He said, "I want to be a priest."
Wow. No firefighter, no race car driver, just straight to, "I want to be a priest." That's some serious conviction for a 6-year-old.
Exactly. And his whole childhood was pointed toward that goal. He entered the seminary at 16, and it was there, on a very specific night, that his mission became crystal clear.
Ooh, I sense a big moment coming.
It's a huge moment. It was New Year's Eve, 1900, the night that divided the 19th and 20th centuries. James was praying for 4 hours before the Blessed Sacrament, contemplating the future. He described a particular light coming from the host.
Wow.
And in that moment, he felt this deep, profound obligation to do something for the Lord and for the people of the new century. He knew he had to serve the church, but specifically with the new instruments provided by human ingenuity.
That is incredible. He's standing on the brink of a new century, a century that would see the explosion of mass media, and God gives him a vision for it. He's not just called to be a priest, he's called to be a media apostle. That's what Scrutinizing the Signs of the Times is all about.
Precisely. So he's ordained in 1907, and after a short time as a parish priest, he becomes a spiritual director at the seminary. But this idea is always burning in him. He understood that the Lord was guiding him to preach the gospel in the spirit of St. Paul, using modern instruments of communication.
The spirit of St. Paul. That makes so much sense. Paul traveled the Roman roads, the superhighways of his day, and used letters, the mass communication of his time, to spread the gospel. Alberione wanted to do the same with the technology of his time.
You nailed it. And he knew he couldn't do it alone. He believed that the works of God are performed by men and women of God. So on August 20th, 1914, he founded the Pious Society of St. Paul, the first branch of what would become the Pauline Family.
And it started small, I imagine.
In utter poverty, as the text says. He always said to always begin from Bethlehem. A year later, in 1915, he started the Women's Congregation, the Daughters of St. Paul, with the help of a young woman named Teresa Merlot. This family of priests, brothers, and sisters was born.
So he has the people. What about the apostolate? What were these new instruments he started with?
Periodicals. He saw magazines as the swiftest way to get the message of Christ to everyone. In 1912, he had already started Vita Pastorale for priests. But then, in 1931, he launched Familia Christiana, Christian Home, a weekly magazine for families.
I've heard of that one. It's still a huge publication in Italy. That's incredible staying power. He wasn't just creating something for the moment. He was building something that would last for generations.
Absolutely. He also started a magazine about Mary, one in Latin for priests, another for teaching doctrine, and even a weekly children's magazine called Il Giornalino, the little newspaper. He was targeting every demographic.
But it wasn't all smooth sailing, was it? The biography mentions a serious illness.
No, not at all. In 1923, everything came to an abrupt halt. He fell so gravely ill that the doctors gave up hope, but he miraculously recovered and later said, "St. Paul healed me."
A little help from his patron.
A big help. And it was after this that a message he received in a dream was inscribed in their chapels. It's a message that I think resonates with all of us. Do not be afraid. I am with you. From here, I want to enlighten. Be sorry for sin.
Do not be afraid. I am with you. That's a message for the ages. It's what gives you the courage to keep going, to keep building, even when things look impossible.
And he kept building. Over the years, the Pauline family grew to include 10 different institutes, including congregations for Eucharistic adoration, for helping parish priests, and even secular institutes for lay people, all of them united by one mission: to bring Jesus Christ, the way, the truth, and the life, to the world through the instruments of social communication.
It's a complete spiritual ecosystem he created, and through it all, what was his primary focus for all his spiritual sons and daughters?
Holiness. He was clear. The first concern of the Pauline family should be holiness of life. The second, holiness of doctrine. The media, the magazines, the books, they were all just tools. The real power source was a life completely conformed to Christ.
The medium is not the ultimate message. The life of holiness is the message. I love that.
And he lived that to the end. He lived to be 87, passing away in 1971. And in his final hours, he received a visit and a blessing from Pope Paul VI. And the Pope's words about him are just so moving.
What did he say?
At an audience a couple of years earlier, Pope Paul VI said of Father Alberione, "There he is, humble, silent, tireless, always intent on scrutinizing the signs of the times. That is, the most creative ways to reach souls. Our Father Alberione has given the Church new instruments with which to express herself, new means to give vigor and breadth to her apostolate."
Wow, what an affirmation from the Holy Father himself. He truly saw the gift that Alberione was to the Church.
So, as we wrap up, what's the big insight we can take away from Blessed James Alberione's life today?
For me, it comes right back to our episode title, Scrutinizing the Signs of the Times. He didn't run from the modern world. He ran into it with the gospel in his hands. He asks us the same question today. What are the new instruments in our world? Podcasts like this one, social media, YouTube, AI. Are we using them to bring Christ, the way, the truth, and the life, to others?
That's the challenge, to be creative apostles just like him. To combine that first priority of holiness with a courageous and creative use of the tools God has placed in our hands right here and now.
A powerful life and a powerful legacy. Thank you for walking us through it.
Thank you for joining us on this episode of Holy Lives, Inspiring Stories. We hope the inspiring story of Blessed James Alberione has helped you discover how to live with more purpose, compassion, and courage today. Be sure to subscribe so you don't miss our next episode.
Until then, may we all have the courage to scrutinize the signs of our times and be apostles for this new century. Discover the saints, be inspired to live like one.